Are we live now?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Well, let's get started then. But before we do, I'd like to acknowledge that this meeting will be held electronically via Council Chambers as per Ministerial Order 1M192 and broadcast virtually on our YouTube channel. And before we call the meeting to order, thank you, Councillor McGonigal, for calling for the moment of silence and giving your personal thoughts on the issue of residential schools and the 215 children that they found the remains of in Kamloops. So yeah, it was a heavy week last week, and I never knew it would affect me the way it did, and there were moments of tears, and I guess it's because I've heard some stories from First Nations folks. I've seen the understanding the village workshops, and I actually was in Alert Bay and made a point of going to a First Nations residential school site and standing in front of that building. And as I described in the community forum, a really dark shadow felt like it dropped over me, and then I shut the door on that, and we didn't acknowledge it until this past week with all those events that went on. And thinking it through further and further, and then oddly enough, tying the forestry issue into it with the old growth and the First Nations that were involved in that, I thought, you know what, I've read the plans, there's a lot of work to do, but even with this issue specifically, we have to all, as many as possible, let's sit down, hear the story, acknowledge the story, and understand the story of the First Nations people that were involved with residential schools before I believe, this is my belief, that we can actually reach true reconciliation and a full understanding of the history and the situation as it sits today. So I look forward to seeing the story more. I don't want it to end when the flags go back to full mast tomorrow. I'm hoping to find more ways to keep the conversation alive so that we can get more understanding. And this First Nations involvement in the forestry renewal and stuff like that could be a great place to share that as well as they rebuild and build communities through forestry. So with that, I would like to call this meeting to order. The Strategic Planning Committee meeting Tuesday, June 8th, and at 5:55 p.m. Are there any late items to add to this agenda? Now I'm going to go back and forth here. I don't see any hands, so motion to approve this agenda as presented. Moved by Councillor Sandhu, seconded by Councillor McGonigal. Thank you very much. And any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? None. Motion carried. Business arising and unfinished business. Ongoing items still being addressed. The same thing that we had on last month with Mr. Gordon McIntosh, roles and responsibilities, discussion guidelines for 2020. Didn't put a new one on for this month, but next month, as I promised, I will share some more of the publications that came out of the CEO forum that I attended. And keep following up with more good information for everybody. So any more discussion on that document itself before we move along? Okay, I reread it myself again today, just to be refreshed once again. Seeing that one can't get enough of that stuff. So we do have a delegation, so if we don't mind moving along to the correspondence, which we have none, and then we can do away with another 3 minutes by going to the verbal comment from the public on subsequent items on the agenda, and we can pause for 3 minutes for telephone or email submissions on items on this agenda. Telephone number is 250-749-6681, and emails can come to general@lakecowichan.ca. We'll see you at 6 p.m. And we are back. Mr. Fernandez, do we have any verbal comments from the public?
Yes, I had two separate emails, but I think they're dealing with the same subject. And you want me to read both because it says the same thing in different ways, but I'll read the first one. It's from Kara Smith. It says 2 questions for June 8th Strategic Planning Committee meeting. Hi, I would like to submit the following questions under section 11 on the agenda for the Strategic Planning Committee. The Trails Strategy Review on page 11. Integration of trails into the active transportation network talks about 56% of participants were in favor of insensitizing trails stewards to build trails that focus on active transportation. Is the town of Lake Cowichan open to collaboration with local groups such as the Cowichan Lake Trailblazers Society, the Cowichan Lake and Riverside Stewardship Society, and others on trail building planning efforts? 2, the TLC draft active transportation plan includes a recommended action in section 5.1 on establishing a formal staff function to identify grant funding opportunities and preparing grant applications. Similarly to question 1, is the TLC open to collaboration with local groups for grant applications, either as a lead or in support of applications by local groups? Looking at the second one, it's very similar to the first
one. Okay, well,
Just a point of order, Mr. Chair. I think they were basically questions and not input. So if we could hear those at the end, I think that would be appropriate for us to answer at that time.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
And if I may follow up, was the second one from a different person?
The second one is a very similar language.
From a different person or the same person?
Same person, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think if it was from a different person, that the acknowledgement of that person would be appropriate, but it's the same person. We'll save them both to the end.
Yeah, if I may, I'll read the second one at question period.
Okay, good plan. All right, so we've finished up the verbal comments from the public, and is the delegation ready to go?
She's there.
They're there, sorry?
Yeah, she's on.
Okay.
No picture though. Oh, there we go.
Okay, there's Milena right there. Okay, hello, Milena. Milena Patnaud from Community Services is here tonight to just give us a brief outline of the programs and services provided by Community Services. Welcome, Milena. Good to see a face.
Yeah, my maskless face.
Yeah, that's now when perhaps people can recognize each other on the streets. So we have 10 minutes for you allotted this evening, Milena.
Okay.
So I will let you go.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. It's nice to put a face to Joe's name too, because I'm always calling or emailing him. So
Oh, you know.
Nice to see you finally. Yeah, so like Mayor Day mentioned, I just thought it'd be helpful for me to come and introduce myself, and so you guys can all put a face to the name and just share with you a little bit about what we do here at Community Services. I'm sure you're well aware, but I just thought it'd be nice to come and do more of a formal, I mean, it's certainly not a presentation, but that's the first word that's come into my mind. So, and if you had any questions, I don't know if that can even be part of this, but yeah, so that was kind of my intention behind being a delegate for tonight. And I've been the executive director here at Community Services now for approximately a year. We've been a nonprofit society in the region since the 70s. Since 1972, we've been operating in the Cowichan Lake region. And my predecessor, Carol Blatchford, she, really was at the helm of making community services what it is today. And I have a lot of respect for her and all that she's done here and for the community. And so it was really big shoes for me to fill coming in to community services. And my intention as I began was really just to try and sit back and really try to get the lay of the land and meet folks and just really get a sense of what, what the pulse in the community is and, what the experiences are of the people that we're serving here at community services. And, really early on, I noticed that probably the two main things that were coming up regularly were people coming here in crisis, at imminent risk of, losing their housing or just being really caught up in the system and being really frustrated and not really sure which way to go. And then also just, in light of COVID and just poverty and life and the heaviness of everything that comes with that, there was just a lot of people requesting mental health support. And so just trying to hold space for all of those needs here. And I'll share with you all the breadth of some of the programs and services we offer here. And so it's really a balancing act of trying to support all these pieces and really be, making a strong impact in the community. So those are some of the observations that, came to me as I started in this role. And those are the pieces that I probably have been leading with and trying to work on some additional programming and applying for grants and that sort of thing for some enhanced programming. But then also I've been working on some general building upgrades as well. So I've certainly been busy in the last year. I thought I would start by sharing with you guys just our mission and constitution, just to kind of frame, I'll follow up with all of the programs and services that we offer. So I thought that just starting with that could frame that a little bit more. So our mission is to enhance and support the quality of life for all Cowichan Lake area residents. And the purposes of our society are to initiate and support programs aimed at the alleviation and or prevention of social problems within Cowichan Lake area. I'm reading this verbatim. So maybe I would have used slightly different language, but I'm reading it verbatim. And then the second one is to support, coordinate, and or promote other social services within the Cowichan Lake area. So that's really a guiding, guiding words for the programs and services that we offer. And I didn't look at the clock on when I started, but maybe I'm already rambling too much. How much time do I have left?
I think about 4 minutes.
Oh, geez, I can waste 6 minutes real easily here. Okay, so just briefly, we operate a transit assistance program, which offers complimentary bus tickets to community members in need of public transit in order to get to important appointments like medical employment appointments. We also sell bus passes and tickets here for purchase. We are a Work BC Employment Services Center. So for community members who are underemployed or unemployed, you can register for case management through our Work BC team. And there's lots of supports that come with being part of our work, signing up for Work BC. We also have the Red Cross Health Equipment Loan Program. So that allows any community member to come in and rent equipment loan equipment necessary for if they've just been in surgery or anything like that, need a wheelchair. So that's a well-used program. And then we offer counseling, family, individual, couples counseling. And that's a big chunk of what we do here. that kind of goes alongside the counseling, goes alongside programs for youth and adults. We have lots of programs that we run in the school, summer programs. They've certainly shifted and been modified a bit because of COVID, but we're still actively involved in the schools, offering counseling for families, children and youth. And through the MCFD, the Ministry of Child and Family, we're also doing supervised visitation to help families, stay together and build relationships. So we have a mental health team that does all that work. And then we also accept applications for the food bank. So so people can sign up here. And we also have a weekly refresh food market. So in partnership with Couch and Green Community, we offer a bi-weekly fresh food market on Wednesdays and Fridays. And everyone is welcome. Friday is more intended to serve seniors first and really have seniors be front and center. And it's a food recovery program. So fresh food that would have gone to the landfill is offered free of charge, and everyone can just take what they need. Which has been a great program. And then we also offer homelessness prevention and support. And that's through funding from the federal government's program Reaching Home. And we're able to provide financial and non-financial support to community members who are homeless or at imminent risk of becoming homeless. So this includes a bi-weekly soup kitchen on Mondays and Thursdays, basic needs services for those who are already homeless, and then homeless prevention supports, which could be help with hydro arrears, rental arrears. And then we also have health and medical services through that program, which includes an on-staff occupational therapist and additional mental health support for the demographics served specifically within this program. And a huge part of the work that we do in this piece of work is advocacy. As I mentioned before, there's so many people that are just so overwhelmed that really just walking beside them and helping them through whatever they need, phone calls to Service Canada or landlord-tenant mediation. A huge piece of this work is advocacy and helping navigate the system. We also offer just like business and administrative services, but one key piece with this is that we're also a local access point or a third-party administrator for the Ministry of Social Development and Poverty Reduction. So people that live in this region don't have to go to Duncan to submit their stubs. They can do it here and for their social assistance. As you probably all are aware, we do our Christmas hamper program. And we do have the community bus rental. So those are some of the main programs and services that we offer. I'll just take one more minute to talk kind of a little bit about our community connectedness piece too. Another big priority of mine was to make linkages in the community. So, part of the food recovery program is that we get pre-made meals through Couch and Green Community. So we've made a partnership with the Seniors Foundation, and the president and his wife come and pick up the pre-made meals every week and deliver them out to seniors in the community. They haven't been able to do anything since COVID there. So I tried to build a bit of a bridge so those seniors that might be more isolated or harder to get out, that were really needing those meals, to still have some support available to them. We also have a partnership with Couch and Women Against Violence. We have a counselor that comes on Tuesdays who meets specifically with residents where there's a family violence component to the counseling that they require, and she works specifically with them. So that's a huge asset to our counseling team. We also chair the community outreach team meetings. So that is to keep all of the, a group of service providers in our region connected and informed of what's going on. We've also been part of the poverty reduction strategy that's been going on that I know a lot of you are well aware of. And, we try to stay connected with other agencies, and the RCMP, we have a strong working relationship with. Community Garden Society is going to be growing some food to help support our soup kitchen. And then we also are trying to be well-versed in all of the programs and services that are offered regionally to provide our residents with referrals to other agencies for things that we can't provide here.
Okay, you're about to
Yeah,
get the hook.
that was a mouthful.
You know what? But if you feel that you could fill another a minute or three, council would have to give you a unanimous consent to that. So I don't know if you feel like stopping there, or else we could
You
field
were
some
really
questions.
good at interjecting right when I took a breath there, Bob.
Yeah, I was waiting for that.
Good
It took a
one.
long time. So can we call that a wrap then, or do you want to go
Yeah,
on?
no, I think that's definitely a wrap. That's what we're doing in a nutshell. And obviously I could go into more detail about each one of those pieces individually, but I just wanted to share with you the breadth of what we do here. And we really are a vital agency in the community. We do a lot, and people come to us when they need help. When they don't know where to go, or when they have nowhere else to go, they come here. And so we really are an essential service in our region. And I know there's a little bit more happening and talking around the homelessness piece, but I just wanted to make it really clear to everyone the breadth of what we do here, and that all of it's important and all of it's meaningful. And we really are trying to find ways to serve all community members equally.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time.
So do you mind sticking around for a moment? Do any councillors have questions for Melinda?
I would love to.
Councillor McGonigal, thank you.
I will start. Thank you very much, Ms. Patnode, for reaching out and speaking to us tonight. We're well versed in some of the activities that you did mention. I'd just like to go back a little bit into the history of the incorporation of the Activity Center. Under letters patent, which no longer exists within the province of British Columbia, the Activity Center resides within a letters patent amended in 1975 for the operation of an activity and recreation center. Now that has morphed with the implementation of Lake Cowichan Recreation, who took that over. And some of the services that you mentioned tonight have been encompassed within the new vision and the new bylaws that you mentioned earlier. My question is on the implementation of counseling services and the need for additional funding for adult mental health counseling. I know we have discussed this in the past with the very minimal number of hours that are provided there, and the opportunity for looking within the new function within the core on how to get some services within this region. Can you speak briefly on that?
Sure. Yeah. So so right now, the way that our funding works is that we're with our counseling services, the bulk of our funding is coming from the Ministry of Child and Family. And then a small piece of it is coming from Island Health. So the piece from the funding from Island Health is coming is for adult mental health, which is what Councillor McGonigal is speaking to, and it hasn't been. I'm going to pull up what it equates to because I don't want to get it wrong. I have it right here, and so it's $22,000 annually. And that funding level equates to 9 hours per week for a registered clinical counselor that we have on staff. So you can imagine, that's 9 hours per week for her to do everything. So that equates to seeing about 6 clients per week under ideal circumstances. That would be 1.5 hours per client. That includes the time for the session, and then for her to do her notes and everything. and we're not operating under ideal circumstances. Right now, that's getting reduced down drastically to fit in as many people as we can. They're going from, maybe they need weekly, but they're being seen bi-weekly or monthly to fit more people in. There's a huge need for more mental health support here. And even with our partnership with our working relationship with the RCMP, just between April 1st, last fiscal year, between April 1st and March 31st, calls for service related to mental health was 128. And apprehensions under the Mental Health Act was 24 of those 128. So being able to have better supports to provide upstream support, the anticipation is that those numbers would be reduced for the RCMP. So the amount of time that we have for mental health support equates to 6 hours per week. And it's not even close to meeting the need. And with that, the consequence of that is that a lot of our community members are not being supported with their mental health needs. And then that just ends up blowing up into a bigger situation that we experience regularly, where they're totally unstabilized.
Follow up, if I may. No, that's perfect.
Oh.
I think as elected officials, we have tried to lobby for an additional amount of funding for that mental health portion, especially in the adult function that you spoke of. But if I could just go on a different topic on the homeless situation that you spoke of, or those that are at the verge of becoming homeless. It would appear that that is a focus that we are hearing quite a lot of in the community. And I just want to assure people that that is not the main focus of community services, as you had stated. It's just a portion, but it is a new entity on moving from where you have been to where you're going. So my concern is that the focus not be on those that are homeless or at a verge of being homeless, that we encompass the complete services of community services that are provided in the community. And I think the focus on the homelessness and those who are on the verge of that has become a focal point in the community, unfortunately. But if I can just look at the letters patent and just quote that, if I may, that the taxation for this function is apportioned equally between the participating members. So that would be the town of Lake Cowichan, Area F, and Area I under the letters patent. So I think that's also important to note, that we are not the only financial contributors to this. So I appreciate you letting me ramble on, but I didn't go 10 minutes.
Yeah, and we really appreciate the support from the CVRD. I mean, it's critical to our core operations. And if I can just comment to what Councillor McGonigal said about the homelessness piece, is that okay? Or
Yeah, go ahead.
okay. Yeah, and I think like he mentioned, certainly that's getting a little bit more attention. And I haven't even come out publicly about some of the things that we're working on because nothing's approved yet, right? Like I'm still trying to get, all of the pieces in line that would even allow me to comfortably talk publicly about it, because I don't even know if it's going to happen at this point, right? But the part that is completely like front and center for me is that these people that are, can be labeled as either homeless or at imminent risk of becoming homeless are already coming to community services. They're here every single day, and they, it's pressing. It's very, very pressing on us. And right now, especially I think with COVID, it really heightened the fact that everything that we do enters through our front door. So you got a sense of all of the different things that we do here, and everybody accesses it through one door. And we're just finding we were just getting so congested in our front entranceway, and where we're having two potentially conflicting people coming to community services. One person could be here intoxicated and bloody and loud, and the other person is coming here for mental health support because they're trying to stay sober. And so having everybody at our front door, it's becoming so problem. It's just becoming such a problem. And we need to be able to just filter people through the building in a better way, so everyone feels safe and everyone feels supported. And that's really the intention behind the proposed project that you guys are all aware of, is supporting all of the clients that we're already serving, but just doing it in a way that just works better for everyone.
Okay, thanks, Moina. So Councillor Sandhu, please.
Thank you. Nice to meet you. Hello.
Nice to meet you.
Heard lots about you, just never met you. So nice to meet you. Regarding the mental health support, are any of the homeless, whatnot, are they going in for services regarding their, situations?
Yeah, so through the support that we received through the Reaching Home program, one of our specific directives is called Health and Medical Services. And that's a new directive that was created because of COVID. And so part of our funding goes specifically to mental health support for the demographics that program serves. So, and we've been blessed with the opportunity to have an occupational therapist on site. That's part of that support. And then our mental health team. And then if needed, we can also use that money to refer out. So because Councillor McGonigal shared that, our adult mental health resources are very limited, we've actually been able to, we've been able to pay for clinical counselors for residents of the region, and they just kind of go to somebody else. I said that so not eloquently at all, but yeah, to answer your question, it is a part of it. And and so there's the occupational therapist piece, the occupational therapy, the mental health piece, and then we also have outreach. We have so we have one person from our mental health team that's actually meeting them where they're at out in community, more so than having them come here. So it daily check-ins, walkabouts, just to see how they're doing. After an overdose, we're there making sure that our community members are still doing okay. All of these things, we go above and beyond what we, like what's on paper and what I've shared with you, we go above and beyond that. We have people that go out in the community and check on people and make sure they're okay. Yeah. And then we also have a great working relationship with the outreach workers through the Ministry of Social Development and Poverty Reduction, their integration worker, and Island Health's public outreach. They come every Wednesday, line it up with our food markets, and check in on people as well. So that's happening in a few different ways, as much as we can with the resources that we have.
That's great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Austin. Anything?
No, I'm quite aware of a lot of the things going on there. I'm in there a few times a week, and I know the nurses that come on Wednesday, and I think you're doing a great job with all the work that you do there, and the food for especially the green community donations for the different age groups. And I have suggested to seniors that I know, don't be shy, pop in on Friday and check it out. And I just think that's great. And I'm glad it's there for everybody. You're doing a great job. And thank you for being here, because there are people in this community that are new to this community and they have no clue of what. Someone said to me, "Where's community services?" the other day. I said, what do you think that building on Point Ideal with the words community services in front are? And, you know, I know it's hard for people sometimes, they don't think about that, but if you're new to the community, it's wise to check these things out and find out what they do. And you can check them out online. You don't have to go in person. So
Mhm.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So thank you, Milena, for appearing here tonight. And I think this gives council just if they didn't know something already, they know a little bit more tonight and are able to, you know, direct folks your way who are in need of those services. The only other comment that I made that came to the top of my head is that having been a former produce manager and seeing how much good produce goes into those bins that goes to the Refresh store and is offered at little or no cost, free, is good stuff. So please, council, don't, or staff, if you know somebody that needs something, it's not garbage that's being offered there for use by human consumption. It's being in that produce business, and I know other stores have even higher standards. That it's embarrassing to see what we throw away that is perfectly edible. If we grew it ourselves, we would have ate it, but because we paid money for it, we wouldn't pay money for it because it's got a bruise on it. So yeah, it's a shame that we waste so much. But I'm glad that the Refresh is able to operate here and offer that service. So that's amazing, as are the other services that you offer there. So thank you very much for being here tonight, and look
Thanks for
forward
having
to hearing more about your good work. And and thank you.
Yeah, thanks for listening, and I'm sure I'll be seeing you all real soon. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
All right. All right, something came to mind just because of that. Maybe Minister Malcolmson, the Minister for Mental Health and Addictions, is another minister that could be put on the list if we want to talk about increasing services. All right, so we've done the verbal comment, and we have no reports, and then we have new business. That's a trail strategy review. That was something brought forward by the administrator. Just thought there was some good information there for us. And you know what, one of the coolest things I saw in there was the recommendations that it's a good idea to have an active transportation strategy. And so I think we're going to see our finished product in the upcoming weeks, and that'll be really cool to see that and see how we look forward to budgeting for that in the upcoming years to do some work for the active transportation networks within the municipality. So that was my only comment on that. I'm sure you've all read it. So if anybody else has anything to add for comments, Councilor McGonigal.
And I think it's important that we receive the active transportation plan and then try to implement it with the announcement from the province in moving forward with some possibilities of connectivity, for instance, that we've spoken of for many, many years, and hoping that there's a source of funding, not just a source of verbiage within that, not just words and encouragement. I think as all small communities looking to implement active transportation plans, the major portion is prioritizing our capital projects, and where this would fall within that line within our strategic plan and our capital plan would be difficult to analyze just on taxation that we collect. So hopefully there's a portion of grant funding that would be afforded to implement some of these that were spoken of in that announcement.
Yeah, so there's lots of great information in that report. And so it's good to have around as we move forward. And I heard from Joseph today that we should be seeing the finished plan for us to look at and final adopt too. So we can move on to that next phase. All right. Okay. That means any other hands in on that topic? Then we'll move along to the notices of motion. Anything there? No. Public relations items. Anybody have anything to announce at this meeting? I just have a couple things. The flags that we lowered to half mast in remembrance of the 215 remains of the First Nations under near a residential school in Kamloops. Those flags we raised to full mast tomorrow. And at that point, the pride flag will be raised as well. So for those who are interested, I've been waiting for that day. That is tomorrow. It's 215 hours after they were lowered to half mast. Also, just to pay attention this week, if you're on Facebook, and I think everybody here is, that you can watch the activities of the Cowichan Lake Lady of the Lake activities planned starting on Wednesday with the opportunity night, and then a couple other events on the drive-through in the Subasset Square roundabout coming up as well. Look for the schedule on their Facebook page, and if you like it, and if you want to consider sharing that, that'd be awesome too. And you can watch those events live on that Facebook page as it rolls out. So the complete schedule is there, and I think it's amazing that they've managed to move forward and have seven participants in a virtual fashion, and I'm excited to see it come back. So those are my public relations items.
I just want to mention one thing.
Go ahead.
I can't remember who all was at the AVICC. Is that something we would mention out to the public that we attended virtually, the Association of Vancouver Island Coastal Communities, and how well we enjoyed it? It was well done, lots of good information. Is that
Absolutely, Councillor Austin. Would you care to elaborate on that?
Well, I just really enjoyed it. I thought, oh no, I got to sit all day. I thought I was going to die, but it was fine. It was really good. I missed a couple of things, but you know, the keynote speaker was. We needed Kleenex beside us when we were watching that. He was wonderful, Joe Roberts, and all the different people that were part of that, and the different sections in it. I think Ian did a great job chairing, and his staff, his executive. And I can't wait to get live next year in Victoria, because it is so nice to actually meet the people and then be able. I went, what happened? I went to a virtual meeting, but it's not quite the same.
Yeah, thank you. Anybody else on AVICC? I did send a message of congratulations and thank you to President Morrison for the format that they put out. I think they found a way to balance the right amount of content and not keep us all glued to a chair in our kitchens and our living rooms all day long for several days. It was a nice abbreviated format and some really great information. And yeah, the keynote speaker was fairly riveting, and it was a fabulous story to listen to and acknowledge. Okay, nobody else on AVICC. So then we can move along to question period. I guess we got to pause for another 3 minutes to receive more questions or from this meeting. So once again, the phone number is 250-749-6681, or email your questions to general@lakecowichan.ca. Please, if you have a question with items on this agenda, do so within the next 3 minutes. We'll see you all back at 6:41 and field any questions. All right, 6:41 it is. Mr. Fernandez, as promised, you have another question to read, and any future or further questions arrive.
Yeah, just this one, and Ms. Smith has asked that the first email that she sent be read out, which is what I didn't read earlier, so I'll read this. Under section 11 of the agenda, I'd like to submit the following. The total strategy review on page 11 speaks about the incentivizing trails towards to build trails that focus on active transportation. Is the town of Lake Cowichan open to collaboration with local groups such as the Cowichan Lake Trail Blazer Society, the Cowichan Lake and River Stewardship Group, and others on trail planning building efforts? Number two, first question was just read. Number two, the town of Lake Cowichan's draft active transportation plan includes an action in section 5.1, establishing a formal staff function to identify grant funding opportunities and preparing grant application. If this action is implemented, would the TLC be open to collaboration with local groups on funding applications, either as a lead or in support of applications submitted by a local group?
So I'd like to defer those questions to staff for comment rather than answer it.
How about I take it, Mr. Mayor?
Thank
If I
you.
could. I think it's a little premature to be answering those types of questions until we, first of all, receive the final report on the active transportation plan and go through a elaborate budgeting process as to the impacts of said transportation plan and implementation. Again, I spoke of prioritizing capital projects, and this would fit immediately in with that. And given when the active transportation is endorsed by this body, we will dissect it and look at the verbiage within the report from the province and how they would align together. To do it now is premature at best and would not do justice to either document. So until they are both endorsed, or the active transportation plan endorsed and then discussed further, I think it's a little premature to answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilor McGonigal. That's a great answer. All right. So that was our one and only question.
And I didn't mean to take your thunder away, Joe, but
No, that's fine. Actually, that makes sense. The only thing is I agree with everything's going to flow from that plan.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So that would take us to the in-camera, which we have none, and adjournment number 13. Motion to adjourn, Councilor Sandhu, second by Councilor McGonigal. Any further discussion? Anybody want to hang around longer? Okay. All those in favor of adjournment. Thank you very much, everybody, and have a great night. And
Thank you.
see you all and email you all soon.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Good night.